talk about the luxury market in DFW. But first, if you like my content, you're really going to love my escrow team. So give me an opportunity to talk to you about your title needs. You can reach out to me on any of my social media platforms. My guest today, I'm really excited about. I have Michael Hershenberg, the owner of the Hershenberg Group, and with him is his director of new development, Brandon Hooley, who I just met today. Very exciting. And so I've been wanting Michael to come on the show for quite a while now. He's got a lot of exciting projects, and we're also going to talk about team structure and the status of the luxury market in DFW. So welcome, guys. I'm really glad that you're here with me today.
Thank you. Now, very excited to be here and be a part of it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, let's just jump right in, right? Because we want to keep everybody's attention. So, Michael, the first question I have for you is I kind of want to talk about, we've all seen the shift, right? It's happened. Consumers are starting to catch up maybe a little bit. Builders are back with all of their incentives and loving on my realtor friends again. Yeah. So that's good. Why don't you give us a little bit of a kind of overview of what you're seeing currently in the luxury market since the shift? And then you can include new construction in that as well.
Yeah, talking about the shift, and again, I'll even back at what Gary Keller says as well. It's a stabilization that is leaning towards a more healthy and a more sustainable market. That's what we're seeing across the board. So again, you had all these inflated prices trying to, take advantage of the boatfuls of people coming to North Texas, which North Texas in itself is a very, very hedged market, unlike other markets like California and New York. Our little, dip when we talk about the shift is a pin drop of a shift compared to what other markets are going through. We see it a lot more of the stabilization and hedge around, lower price points, 300 to 700,000. Things are starting to now come down on people's secondary homes, but even in the luxury market, on anything over $1 million. We're starting to see small dips, but it's not anything scary. People are still exiting strongly. And that's the most important message to get to the consumers.
Well, and I like to describe it as the greed is gone, right? Everybody that was jumping ship, selling their house for these huge overages, right? Just to move and capitalize on the current market, that part is kind of over. We've got serious buyers and serious sellers.
And we're still getting serious buyers and serious buyers under contract right now. And sellers are wanting to make money. Out of my career, this last August was the largest month of my career. So it's like,
congratulations.
Yeah,
that's
moving
exciting.
And shaking. The next month will even succeed that. In October, it'll probably be double.
Yeah, and I've watched you grow, right? Because when I came on board with lawyers, you were already an existing client, and when we first started getting to know each other, what your operation looked like yesterday is much different than what it looks like today. And we'll kind of talk about the growth of your team and the success that you've had a little bit later in the show. But congratulations to you, and I think it's very notable. And I said this on our way in that you're one of my only luxury clients that are able to get high-end luxury deals under contract right now. And that's extremely impressive and a big deal for you. So, and obviously a big deal for our partnership. So
you got to find the deals. Some people call me a hound dog, and I'm okay with that.
I like that.
Elvis Presley fan.
I like that. Yeah. So talk to me about, have there been any challenges that you faced in the luxury market, and how have you kind of overcome those?
Oh, for recently? Sure. For sure, there's been challenges. I would say that, the buyer pool that was maybe taking the financing approach, they've hesitated, especially with everything going on with interest rates. We want to, and again, that's probably one of my primary things. If you're buying a $3 and $5 and $10 million house and you are taking the financing approach, then
7% matters.
Yeah,
6% matters. Yeah,
really matters. If you are, in a position where it's slightly $1 million and $1.5 million, I'm finding opportunity kind of anything under $2 million right now. They increased our VA funding for the VA jumbos up. Yep. So now I'm getting VA guys that are going and buying $1.2 and $1.4 million properties.
Good for those
which
veterans.
Is awesome.
Amen. Yes.
And good for those. So we're having a larger buyer pool in those segments. For the, one thing that I'm seeing even this week, I had 2 deals where we actually went and structured the financing side of it, where we were able to buy down the buyer's rate And I not convinced, but I spoke, really open with the sellers, and they were happy to do it.
It's a new lender product that's kind of, new old lender product. The lender products go away and come back depending on what type of market we're in. But that buy down
From the seller
program, from the
seller
seller
as an incentive to
as opposed to lowering the list price of the house.
Instead of lowering the list price, let's sign, get you locked in, and make you feel nice and warm and fuzzy, and let's get you under contract.
Yeah, I think it's great. Well, I do know that the buyer objections to the interest rates has been a big deal for a lot of my clients, right? And it's how do we overcome those objections, and working creatively with your lender to come up with ideas on how to get that buyer to the closing table is definitely something that is important to utilize right now. So
I think so.
Any other challenges you're experiencing, or do we want to?
In the luxury markets, the ones that maybe are sitting a little bit longer, I say that's the only other challenge. Over the last, let's just say, 14 to 16 months, our average days on market, specifically over anything over $1 million, has gone up. And it's kind of consistent whether you're in South Lake, Frisco, or Eagle Mountain Lake. It's really it used to be where I'd have $1 million plus property on market. Average day it was 7 to 14.
Yeah, now I really like those days.
Yeah. Now it's 40.
Now we're all having to work again. Yeah.
Work again. Yes. But you got to find the right buyer. You got to find that right pool and make that right alignment. So
where are you seeing the buyers come from that are interested in your luxury properties? Are they local, or are they still coming from out of state?
It's a healthy mix depending on the size of property. We have, some properties that have a little bit more of an attraction, whether it's closeness to DFW Airport or on a water feature like Lake Grapevine, Eagle Mountain Lake. We're still seeing local people move in from Highland Park and Preston Hollow.
Yeah, you've had a lot of success in that part of the Metroplex. They're
coming in and moving. They want to be close to the airport and closer to water, but we're still seeing a ton of traffic from your out-of-state segments, feeder cities. It's pretty awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen a slowdown in the market all overall, but I've also been kind of keeping my eye on Broken Bow, and those are second home luxury. A lot of them can be luxury properties, and you've seen price decrease. So, I don't know that. I think that it's just a stabilization, like you said.
But the demand is still there.
Demand is still there.
This is the first year. Even where one of my luxury properties over $1 million in South Lake, like it was a. When you talk about a tough property to sell, there are 3 or 4 majors that a real estate agent was like, I'm not going to touch that property. But one of the big ones was the whole property was.
Which one is this?
It was the whole property that you guys closed in. It's actually on a graveyard. So
I don't know if I knew that it was on a graveyard.
Yeah, graveyard, murder upstairs again.
Okay, I know. Yeah.
A lot of stuff went down that property.
Yeah.
Like the trifecta. I did not, but you know what?
The trifecta.
And the man was still there. And he was from out of state. He was from Washington.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. There are a bunch of producers who wouldn't have touched that with a 10-foot pole. So, again, one of the things that I've always seen that I admire about you is the grind, right? You're a hustler. You get up every day. You do what you need to do to get the deal done. And so that's part of what has made you successful. And when I have conversations with agents that are struggling right now, it is, what are you doing every day to be successful, right? Are you time blocking, lead gen? All the things, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's not a conversation we've ever had.
No.
So why don't we talk about some of the exciting projects that you guys are working on right now? Brandon, do you want to kick us off? I know we've got 3 that we want to kind of showcase today, and I want you guys to also talk about your approach with these projects. Okay?
Yeah, thanks, Tamara. I guess maybe really to start off with, we'll talk a little bit about the approach. Really, it's a real consultative approach, a little bit different, I think, than traditional, right? So really what we're doing is we're looking at taking from the landowner all the way through working with developers and builders that we have close relationships with, developing communities, developing properties, even working with the cities to get those plat designs and the plat approval and all that, all the way through to actual final home production and sell to the end consumer.
Your end user, and your end user is not just your buyer coming from out of state. Your end user in this example, from what we're seeing, is even from your out-of-state investor that is coming with out-of-state investment money. They can take part in the development.
That's right.
Exactly. They can take part in the holding a few specs, making some money out of the deal.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's break it apart, if you don't mind, because I have clients that do the deal land to the developer, right? Yeah. developer to the builder, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know that I have heard of a lot of complete start to finish approach, right? So do you want to kind of break down the segments for us?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things with the Hershenberg Group is we're not, scared to get into anything, right? Really digging into, opportunities that exist. And so we've got lots of land listings, and we've developed those land listings through relationships that we have with, buyers and sellers. Actually, a lot of our clients have other properties and investments and things. We've been able to, work with them, not just on the purchase of maybe a new home for them, but also some selling of their own land. We have developers that we work with specifically that also are out searching and digging, and we help in that process to dig for those diamonds, if you will, those pieces of property that maybe from the outside doesn't look like it might be, where it needs to be. But as we dig into it, the numbers work, and we get them into that development side, and then we partner them with builders, right? And so having this, we were talking a little earlier today about a variety of builders that we have that we've been working with, to really align them with the developers, with those lands, with areas that make sense so that they can build their portfolio. So it really becomes that consultative. We're helping them, they're helping us, and ultimately we bring that to the end consumer. And that's the buyer.
I love that you said all of that, because I truly believe in a diverse client portfolio, right? Because you've got to be able to weather the market shift, whatever the market shift is, right? So if I have a portfolio that's just lenders and all we've been doing are refis, well, today, we're not doing very much business, right? So being creative about sustainable business, to me, is always a really exciting conversation. And a lot of times we get in this tunnel vision, right? Where my only client is the realtor. Well, that's not my only client, right? Yeah. There's a lot of opportunity out there to work with. And a lot of my wholesale and investor clients right now are wanting land. I see it all the time. I need some land. Where's some land? Yeah. And so the fact that you guys are taking all of those segments of business and putting it into a start to finish process is really exciting to me to talk about, because that's how I kind of approach what I do as well, right? Yeah. So, and I think there's a lot of value to that. And then, I'm sorry, builders, but you're not at the mercy of the builder.
No,
right?
We're
because
we're partnering with
correct,
the builder.
And I really like
that
the
opportunity,
because the last couple of years the realtor's been at the mercy of the builder, right? We don't have enough product, and we've got lines of 100 people, and we don't need you, and we're slashing commissions, and no more. We're not even going to return the phone call, right? You're partnering with them in a way. You're creating need. Not just for yourself, but whoever it is that you're working with. And I really, really like that.
I think it's going to turn from that whenever we start, again, the builder alliances that we do have. We're going to be just pushing and shoveling a ton of business their way.
That's right.
Over that's what we'll call it the next 1 to 4 years. What's going to happen when it shifts back? Our builder alliances are going to be return the favor.
Correct.
Exactly, and we're going to really have a true partnership at that point in time.
I think that is fantastic. So let's talk about some of these projects. Do we want to start with the vines?
I'll let you take approach on that. Please.
Yeah, so we work with a great builder kind of out of the South Lake area that has put together just a great product in the Hazlet market, which it's coming in at just above the $1 million mark, which for Hazlet, people were like, oh, really? But man, we are
It's very interesting because Hazlet's changing. Yes.
We are selling product out there, and they've got just a great product, but it's really about that relationship. Right? So developing that relationship with the builder, working jointly with them as a team. Because unfortunately, Tamara, I think we've all seen it. Sometimes builders and realtors are kind of at odds with one another, and we don't want that. That's not what we want. And so we've really been successful in building that relationship with them. And it's really about trust, right? And so we've got 84 total lots out there. Over half of those lots are already taken down. Homes are coming up.
Vertical.
How much inventory you got?
8 of them are vertical now.
Yeah, or more. I mean, more than that. We've got a couple that have already closed at this point.
No waiting list. We have a spec that's available.
There's one spec available.
Right now that's under the $1 million price point.
Just under, actually great.
Move-in ready,
great product.
1 story, great product. Half-acre lots. I mean, there's nothing like this community. It's very special, and I look forward to the future partnership with this.
What kind of inventory do you have right now?
So we've probably got another 40 lots or so that are available at the moment. Some of those are being taken down as we speak. So if you want something, come in and give us a call. But it's a great product. It's a great process. You really get to, as opposed to having something chosen for you, This is a product where you actually can come in and choose and be, I would call it a semi-custom.
Okay,
right?
that's what I was going to ask you.
Semi-custom, but you have your own interior designer, given to you right at the start. She's helping you make those really great selections, but also they're really doing a good job on bid management, making sure you're not going to get cost creep.
Okay. And that's one of the problems that we've seen over the last 2.5 years is you go under contract for X and then all of a sudden you get a phone call a little while later and the price might be a little different. So what does build out look like at the Vines?
Yeah, so the process typically is, a lot deposit. It's a $5,000 fully refundable lot deposit. And then you actually get in and design your house, right? Once you design your house, then that lot deposit becomes earnest money, right? Because now you're doing floor plans and all of that. And then you actually, like Michael was saying, you work with interior and exterior designers to build your house, not the builder's house, but your house. And that process typically takes, 1 to 2 months or so, depending on your time frame and being able to schedule those meetings.
We've had some doing it as early as 2.5 and 3 weeks. So
I mean, real
the ones
quick.
that want to move 2.5, 3
That's
weeks,
right.
and then while that's going on, you close your construction loan product, and essentially they can start going vertical. After the 6-week mark, possibly.
Yeah.
And have the product completed in 8 to 8.5 months.
That's right.
I think it's great. And what is the total community? And how big is this community?
So
Did you say that already?
84,
I'm sorry.
84 half-acre plus lots.
Okay.
Yep, they're sitting up kind of on the mountain, if you will, the ridge, the hill in Hazlet. So yeah, great product, great builder, and welcome you guys to come on out and take a look at the Vines.
Awesome.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add before we move on to the next project?
Not for the Vines. Again, one of the, in my opinion, one of the most energy efficient and custom products that are on the market at that price point. You're getting these mini me's of these $3 and $5 million homes in Vaquero and Westlake being plopped in Hazlet at the highest elevation point in Tarrant County, and you're having views that are just fantastic. And you can go in and if you're a VA or a doctor, you can finance the dang thing at 100%.
There you go.
So really cool product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Brandon, I know we want to talk about another development that you guys are working on.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, we've got this luxury market, which is great, but we're also helping developers and builders bring to market townhomes and condos. And we've got one right now kind of in between the Fort Worth and Arlington area. It's under contract right now. They're basically going to put 60 to 70 townhomes. So they're going through that development phase. We're almost contracted on that particular piece of property. And we're going to work with them through that process of actually going vertical with those townhomes and helping them market these 60 to 70 townhomes. So we've got, neighborhoods, high end, we've got townhomes. We're not unique, if you will, in just one part of the market.
Right.
We're really looking at
like
being
that. Well
a
said.
broad, player, and partner really is probably the right word. Partner with developers and users with that.
Let me ask you this. So, and if you don't have an answer right now because it's still in negotiations or development, you don't have to answer. Do we have a range, kind of the price point of what these townhomes are going to look like?
This developer is really unique. He's partnered with a builder. I can't give information completely at the moment, but really his goal is to make this affordable really for firefighters,
So glad
teachers,
you said that. Yes.
Those
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I mean, home ownership is one of the top ways of building individual wealth, and we want to make sure that that's available for all.
And one of the problems that has come out of this market in the last couple of years is the question of whether or not DFW is going to have affordable housing, right? And I had the executive director of the Salina EDC on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I asked the question, is there affordable housing in Salina? And she said no. And so because the appreciation values have gone up so dramatically, and the standard of living in DFW hasn't increased, right? So now we're faced with this: can Texans buy houses in Texas, right? Yep. So I love that you are tapping into things that will also help Texans afford houses here, like firefighters, and you mentioned a couple of other doctors, things like that, but. I just
firefighters and teachers.
Sorry, teachers. That's what I meant. Okay. I apologize. Doctors are fine. Yes, that's what I meant. Teachers. Yeah. But I grew up here, right? And so I have a lot of passion for Texans being in Texas, right? And so I love the fact that there are projects coming in line that people will be able to afford. So we'll get some more information on that one as you guys move forward. And then Michael, I think we have one more project we want to talk about.
Yeah, on the luxury side. So Denton County is one of my favorite playgrounds to be in right now. There's a lot of exciting stuff.
Tell me why.
So
I didn't realize that.
we have a lot of exciting stuff. I'm not going to go into too much details, but pretty much, between 800 of 1,000 doors coming to Denton County.
Isn't it so incredible, the growth in Denton?
Next year or two as that gets built out. But in the luxury segment, I'm known as the waterfront lake guy. So I am going and being that hound dog and going and searching out lake lots and building custom homes all around Lake Grapevine.
Okay.
I'm doing the same thing on Eagle Mountain Lake. But going back to Denton County, we had an opportunity where a landowner since the late 70s said, boys, we want you to take this land and do something special with it. And we're just going to be, we actually have listed now a segment of his land, just about a quarter of what he owns. And we're going to be bringing to market a really nice conservation district, is what Flower Mound calls it, type of community where you're protecting the trees, you're planting new trees, you're protecting wildlife. You're adding walking trails, green spaces, areas to plant lots of flowers. This Sunset project is going to be, between 14 to 17 custom homes, all on elevated lots right around Lake Grapevine. You have the water views right behind you. It's surrounded by the Corps of Engineers land. I love this project because you're less than a 2-minute walk, just right through some trees. You're at the horse trails. So now you got that really equestrian little add-on for this community where I think Flower Mound would go for having a little horse motel in the front of this community.
Yeah.
And if you want to bring your horse overnight, lasso him up and get your cowboy hat on and go, you can go. And so I'm excited about this project. We're going to be making some really special homes and creating a really special community. And it won't be our first in Flower Mound. We got many of them on the way.
Man, it sounds really serene. It sounds really beautiful. I can't wait to see it.
Pretty cool. A lot of history out there on that side of Flower Mound.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of history.
You've spent a lot of time there in the last couple of years cultivating relationships. So it is seriously paying off for you. So congratulations.
Live in Flower Mound. My daughters will go to school there and again, planning on being there for a long time.
Let's kind of, if there's nothing else that you need to add about projects that are going on right now, I want to kind of tap into something that I know will be of big interest to some of my listening audience. And that is kind of talking about your team structure, Michael, because I have a lot of agents that are like, I want to build a team, right? Or they've built a team and there's just some challenges they're facing within the growth of their team, right? And I've watched you do this pretty successfully, and very successfully. I apologize for the word there. But I want to ask you, kind of looking back as the team leader of the Hershenberg Group, what challenges have you faced as you've grown your team, and how did you find solutions for that particular challenge?
Well, we definitely all have challenges in this business. One thing that kind of made me the agent that I am today is that I had to face every challenge, whether it's from a buyer or seller or just a situation, right? We don't know what we're going to be faced with some days. I kind of had to walk through all of that completely alone. And I think that's what makes my team a little differently in the sense that I really kind of am starting to build really strong trust with each of my agents by being there to walk through them for a given situation. Kind of give them my approach on it, let them know really what real estate law says about it, but then how I would really, maybe overcome that scenario if I were to be hit with it again. A lot of teams out there don't, trust their agents on the listing side. If you're on my team, you're going to be working the listing and the buy side, or you're not on my team.
I love that you do that because that isn't necessarily a normal course of action when you grow a team.
It's not, but it's all about, again, building trust with one another so that we can go and then start building trust and relationship with our buyer and seller clients as a team. Why? We're giving an abundance of service at that point in time together. And with good service comes, again, multiple referrals and the chance to help that consumer in different cycles down the road.
Well, and I've spent enough time with you guys, of course, that I can tell that you are a very close-knit operation. And some of the signs that things aren't being as successful are heavy turnover. And you have not had that on your team. And so I find that there's obviously success in what you're doing, because I've watched teams that have had turnover as much as once a quarter. And that's a lot of cost and a lot of effort
It is, and again, it's all through executive coaching right now, where I have a formula essentially set up where you're going to go through a 30 and 60-day trial with me, and if you don't have the ability to come to the table and be a part of this and be a team member, then it's just not going to be a good fit, and we're going to leave as friends.
Yeah, and that 30, 60, 90-day trial period is something I'm seeing that more teams are starting to adopt to make sure everything's the right fit, on both sides, right? And so, and you definitely need a group of hustlers right now, because this market, we're all having to work again, right?
We are all having to work again. But again, I think with the team approach, I think that, again, as the market starts softening up and sellers are getting a lot more comfortable, I'm going to need the boots on the ground to be able to take in the abundance of opportunity coming into the spring market again. So right now we're grinding through, like you said, but we're pulling in and shaking the right trees and bringing real opportunity to the table.
Do you mind sharing how you're finding talent?
It's similar, online search sites that kind of approach out to others, but alliances have referred me some, folks as well, people that, I've worked with. They know the type of person that I'm looking for. Nothing really kind of special on, going and looking for talent.
Do you want to explain to everyone what roles you have on the team right now?
Yeah, so I take more of the role where I let a lot of different people take their own lane. Again, my agents take their own lane. They're out there, looking for opportunities in the listing and the buy side. They're cultivating, nurturing their relationships within their own segments. The team is bringing to the table builder opportunities and builder alliances so that they can, again, partake, and that we can go and really hit a builder together and really kind of go and execute really strongly.
Well, and you brought Brandon on, and he's working with all of your new development projects, right?
Yes, he is.
And then talk about your back-end operation.
Back-end operations, I have a transaction coordinator that I've been with for about 6 years now. I wouldn't be able to do life without her. She's amazing. And actually a referral from my alliance at Lawyers Title. So thank you guys.
Yeah, she's. I know you're talking about, and she's a rock star.
She is a rock star. And like I said, I don't know what I'd do without her. But then building essentially I just actually hired and in the process of developing a good friend of mine, Devin Cook. He's our director of lead generation. I'm also having him.
Oh, I didn't realize that was his role. Okay.
Yeah, so he's joining me on the listing front. He's a killer on the phones.
I've already heard about his. Yes, I've heard about him. I heard about him at Mega Camp.
Killer on the phone, but he wanted to really kind of take this approach to kind of help really build processes in place so that when the wave comes of good business and good opportunity, we're going to have the systems in place to really execute strongly on them.
Sounds similar to an ISA role? No?
No. I have my ISAs. I have 5 ISAs, four OSAs, which are out of state, and 1 ISA that is here in state.
Okay.
But Devin is kind of that. He really kind of keeps my ISAs accountable. We're on coaching calls with them twice a week, just firming up their ability to convert, and then hearing really what the objection of the week is. But it's all about the systems. So just really firming up on that piece.
How do your agents help you find and identify buyers for some of these projects that you're working on?
So a buyer pool can come from really any direction. We're seeing right now where we're seeing a lot of push coming from this SEO segment, this online just search. If someone is searching in a particular area for a home or for a value, I think that's where we're going to really see something strongly going into the spring and summer.
Well, I noticed you started a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Someone I'm managing my YouTube channel right now.
Yeah, and I'm seeing the videos. Yeah. So, and you've had team members on them as well. It's not just been you as the star of the show. You've highlighted a lot of your team members and started bringing in some of your partners too.
Market education. We have a team member. We have not a team member, but another fellow broker that's in our office, and she's missed out of state. I think 100% of her business that I say. She's just a rock star YouTuber, and so I got big goals on my YouTube stuff, which
I hear you.
One day.
I hear you. And look, it's a very successful platform for moving real estate.
It is
right now. So any advice to our listeners?
Yeah. If you're going to start a team and you're just 1 or 2 agents, definitely start with the transaction coordinator. If you step up and you're heavy on the listing front, even with 2 agents, I would absolutely recommend hiring a listing director or a listing manager that can solely focus on every piece of the listing and making it perfect. From marketing to executing the day it goes live to everything in between. that's a crucial role for us. I'm really, really proud that I've been developing a team member of mine to that role for the last few years.
The details are super important right now, right?
Well, and if I could add, Tamara,
Yeah.
one of the things that we've talked a lot about partnerships here. One of the
Yes.
things that Michael does really well is partnerships, not only with those outside, but also those inside, right? And so he's giving people within his team opportunities to stretch and to push. I mean,
To develop.
and develop essentially. Yeah. And ultimately, one of the things about Michael that I really appreciate is he's got this humble confidence, very confident and a go-getter. We've talked about hound dog,
Yeah.
but he's also humble. And I'll give you an example. So I was training one of the new guys, and I see Michael's truck, and I go over there, and Michael, hopefully it's okay I share this, he had messed up his shoulder a little bit in a skiing accident. He's out there with a sledgehammer putting in flags, and he's got two of his teammates that are sitting over in a house. I'm like, Mike, give me that thing. What are you doing, man? So don't be afraid to get in and do. And that will garnish more loyalty from a team than anything else. And Michael does that great. There's nothing that he won't do himself. So
Door knocking starting next week.
we've done that.
I know it's a great time to start door knocking again, right? Back to basics. That's
Nice
what we're
and cool
talking
out.
about right now. And I agree with everything that you said, Brandon. And I think, allowing your team members to flex and grow and obtain opportunity on their own is one of the biggest things that will create longevity with your team members, because that's one of the things that I hear about on a regular basis is the team member says, well, I learned everything and now they're just taking a split, right?
Yep.
And I don't want that.
If I'm not doing my job to continue to grow and cultivate and push, next year we're going to close $250 million in real estate. If I don't, you can throw a pie at my face on a stand.
And if you do, we're probably going to go somewhere fantastic and celebrate. When you do, not if.
I want to get to that point, but that's not for me. It's for my team members and seeing their lives change. That's what this is all about for me.
And I agree with that, Michael. I mean, I feel the same way about my escrow team, right? I have to go out and do my job every day because I have to help make sure that they're successful and they get to eat and provide for their families and grow and be successful too. So being a part of a team and making sure that the people that are around you that are part of your team are successful is just, it's the way that it's got to be.
It's key.
Real rewarding.
It's key
Real
for
rewarding.
sustainability,
It is.
for sure.
Yeah.
And not only is it the development side, but then they know that there's a net.
Yep.
Right, there's somebody there just in case, and that's where Michael does a great job. All of his experience he brings to the table, throw you out there, work at it, see what happens. But you've got Michael if you need to. You've got a net there just in case, so you don't feel like you're kind of on an island. Really, really key, and appreciate
Weird
that.
experiences this year from just things that I've just dealt with as an agent. Lisa called me, one of my team members. She's like, "Yeah, Michael, we got an issue. We have 4 cows and 2 longhorns walking down 1171 in Flower Mound.
Welcome to Texas.
These are our cows and our longhorns that we put on for a client that they hired us to do that." And so
Wait, whoa, don't skim over that detail.
So the client was like, "Yeah, I want this land. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to make $1 million on it, whatever the dollar amount is. I'm going to buy it for a short-term investment, and I want to have my exemption in place, but." Let's get this sold. Let's get some cows out there and some longhorns.
And they asked you.
So we, not me, my wrangler or cowgirl, Lisa Elliott, went and got some longhorns for us and got them out on the property just with a phone call. Like she knows everybody in that ranching world. And they escaped. Bandit was his name, actually.
Appropriate.
Seems appropriate, yeah. I mean, what we won't do for our clients.
But I was out late. 8:30 at night, 9 o'clock at night with the city manager
and looking around.
and these people that were just real upset that the cows were out.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you're going to have a lot more of those kind of stories. Again, it never ceases to amaze me what we do to make sure that our clients are happy. So. Yep. No limits, right?
No limits at all.
Well, I think this is a great place to stop for today. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate you being on the show. I'll be excited to have you guys back as we kind of move down the road with some of these developments. And so again, just thank you so much for being a great partner to us and great friend and being my guest today. So thank you for tuning into another episode. Again, I'm your host, Tamara Gady. If you like my content, you're really going to love my escrow team. So let's get a conversation going about your title needs and make it a great day.